Picture this. It's September 2021. You and I were all together on the boat in Cyprus, and the sea is wild. There's big waves, big winds, and you can see the blue all around you. We are at our first ever freediving World Championships. So our goal today is going to dive as deep as possible with one single breath of air. We are only allowed one single attempt, and we chose the hardest discipline of freediving. No fins allowed, no rope either. So we have to choose, go big or play safe. My ego decides to risk it. So I get in the water, and while I'm breathing, I feel huge currents. It's so strong that it tilts my guideline at 45 degrees instead of being straight. It literally sweeps me away. And while I'm trying to calm myself down, I even hear the person before me black out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My guts tell me not to go, and yet I dive. I fight for 1 minute and 30 seconds. I fight against the current. My arms and my legs burn. And against all odds, I reach 60 meters. But in freediving, reaching the bottom isn't the goal. Coming back is. So I start my ascent, and it feels as though I'm fighting against a river, but without breathing. I keep fighting. I look up and I see the surface is almost there. But 2 meters before I reach it, everything turns off. I wake up on the medical boat and I realize what just happened. My first blackout. Physically, I'm totally safe, no worries about that, but mentally, I am shattered. And since then, this experience has shaped my career because that day I realized I knew nothing about risk management. And I definitely did not want my career to follow that same pattern. So I wondered, what does risk management look like? And that brought me to my first rule of risk management. Know when to stop. I'll never control the sea. Just like Dolly Parton said, we cannot direct the wind, but we can adjust the sails. Yet this is not really what we're taught, right? In our society, we tend to glorify perseverance. We celebrate those who never stop. We call them strong, brave, unstoppable, but we hardly ever talk about all the ones that actually do that and end up burnt out. You probably know someone like that who never stops to breathe. Yet this is where risk management begins, in your ability to adapt and in your courage to say no. After that blackout, well, I made myself a promise, inspired by my friend Alice's advice. Never dive in currents. Because I'd rather lose a performance than lose myself again. The best are not those who fight the elements and stick to their plan no matter what. No, it's those who actually evolve with them. Because rigid equals fragile, yet adaptable equals strong. A month ago, the World Championships happened in Cyprus again. My goal, well, it was to finally face what had haunted me for the last 4 years and, dive again without fins in those same waters. But this year again, there was current. That memory of that blackout hit me hard. So I decided while I was doing my performance to not reach the bottom and turn early. At first, what happened is that I was so angry with myself. I was thinking, geez, you came all the way here to finally face that PTSD and destroy it and get that great win, and instead you're leaving with another failure. But then I started to realize, well, I actually kept my promise. I had adapted, I had learned, but most of all, I had proven to myself that I could keep me safe. Maybe that was kind of a victory after all. And don't get me wrong, knowing when to stop is not the only rule in managing risk. That's where your second one comes in. You also have to dare. Even though on that dive I decided to turn early, I still had announced something ambitious because I'd rather announce a performance that reflects my real capabilities instead of unpredictable currents. Because ambition is essential. Audacity is a driver. Maybe you feel that too. When something feels too easy, you cannot commit your mind fully to it. It drifts away. Yet when you dare to dive into the unknown, that's when you focus fully. It awakens all your senses and it sharpens your focus. When you dare, you are fully there. So knowing when to stop and daring enough so that your mind, your body, your senses, your focus are all fully alive is what makes a performance great. And actually following those 2 rules has led me to my most special dive yet. We're 2 days after that failed early turn dive, and I'm announcing 91 meters. I'm attempting a depth I've never gone to before, with Vince this time. It's 3 meters beyond my max and 1 meter away from the podium. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I dip my face in the water. And while my journey to unknown depth begins, time stops. I focus on all my senses. The water gliding around my skin. The depth embracing me. Gliding like a needle in the depth. I focus on all those sensations, one step at a time. I'm fully living the moment. I'm focusing on my task and equalizing my ears so that the depth don't destroy them. I'm focusing on everything that I feel inside my body and outside of it. I try not to think about the goal, only about the present. I let myself be swallowed by the sea while the depth embraces me. And after quite a long time, I hear my alarm telling me I'm almost there to 91 meters. Everything is starting to be a bit darker, and then I feel it under my fingers. I reach 91 meters. Quite tall on land, I feel tiny down here. And then I ascend. My heart, which was slowed down on my way down, is now picking up because I have to get out of that depth. I focus on everything around me now, everything I see, the blue all around me. My guideline to which I'm connected. Nothing can happen to me thanks to it. Everything is starting to clear out. And then I see him, my first safety diver. He's watching over me so that nothing can happen to me. Once I see him, I know I'm starting to get closer to that surface. And then the second one. And the third one. And it's thanks to those guardian angels that I know nothing can happen to me. I'm starting to be buoyant again. I can start to let myself float up to the surface. And when I take, thank you. When I take that first breath, it's accelerating because pleasure was present throughout the whole dive. Because that dive was led by those, knowing when to say no so that you can say yes to the right thing 2 days later. And it's really special to be able to do a dive like this after being blackout free for 4 years, thanks to those rules. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'll never black out again. I wish it was never gonna happen again, but danger is always a possibility. Because to me, just like any other skill, risk management is something that you don't master once and for all. It's something that you keep learning through experiences and through mistakes. I will never be not blacking out. I hope I will never be. But I hope that by following those 2 rules, I get to stay among those female freedivers who black out 2.5 times less often than men underwater. I hope to stay among those who push their limits without ever going beyond. Because knowing when to stop is just as important as knowing when to go. So next time you feel overwhelmed by risk, together we're going to do something. We're going to take a deep breath, hold, and now think, do I feel safe enough to dare? And then, am I daring enough to be fully committed? And breathe. Thank you.